In the shadowed jungles of Southeast Asia, between 1975 and 1979, Cambodia descended into one of the darkest chapters of modern history, led by a mysterious, soft-spoken revolutionary named Pol Pot. The Khmer Rouge seized power and set in motion a brutal experiment in radical communism, one that would leave nearly 2 million people dead in less than 4 years. Their mission was chillingly simple: erase the old Cambodia and create a new, agrarian utopia. Teachers, doctors, and even people wearing glasses, symbols of intellect. The new people were treated as subhuman, forced to labor in fields from dawn to midnight, starved, tortured, and executed for even the smallest signs of rebellion, sometimes just for crying or speaking the wrong words. Being educated became a death sentence. Bullets were expensive, so they used farming tools, hoes, axes, bamboo sticks. Its intellectual class wiped out, its children orphaned, its culture nearly and for decades, the world barely whispered about it. Babies were swung by their feet against trees to silence their cries. This wasn't just genocide, this was annihilation by design. But to do this, the Khmer Rouge would attempt to wipe out an entire generation, destroy culture, families, cities, anything and anyone they believed belonged to the past. Many died along the roads, sick, children without ever knowing they were walking into death camps, disguised as farms. Other top Khmer Rouge leaders were tried only decades later, when many survivors had already passed. Justice came late, if at all. The genocide wasn't the act of a single madman, it was a system, a machine of terror built to crush humanity itself. But in the eyes of every survivor, still haunted by the silence of a lost generation. Once they captured Phnom Penh on April 17, 1975, the regime forced the evacuation of the entire capital. Over 2 million residents were marched into the countryside under the gun, told it was temporary, told it was necessary. Code-named S-21, it became a black hole of human suffering. Over 17,000 men and children were brought. They're accused of being traitors or spies, tortured until they confessed to crimes they didn't commit, then executed at the killing fields of Chuang. The regime abolished money, religion, schools, and private property. Hospitals were emptied. Children were brainwashed into spies, trained to report their own parents. Husbands were turned against wives. Families were split apart. Trust was annihilated. They divided the population into 2 classes: old people and new people. The Khmer Rouge ruled through fear, paranoia, and absolute control. But perhaps the most horrific symbol of this genocide was Tul Sleng, a former high school turned torture prison. At the killing fields, prisoners were taken by truckloads, blindfolded and shackled, and slaughtered en masse. By the time the Khmer Rouge was overthrown in 1979 by invading Vietnamese forces, Cambodia was broken. Pol Pot never faced trial. He died in 1998 under house arrest, denying responsibility. What happened in Cambodia is a chilling reminder of how ideology, when fused with absolute power and paranoia, can become a weapon of total destruction. The legacy of the Khmer Rouge is etched not just in the skulls unearthed from mass graves,